Commissioner McVoy, your hand is raised. Is that for, or
That's
are you
correct.
preemptively raising it?
It's correct because I have a scheduled thing, so I wanted to raise that.
All right. Mayor, it is 9:03 and we are live.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the pre-agenda meeting of May 15th, 2025. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor Betty Resch.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sarah Maliga.
Present.
Commissioner Christopher McVoy.
Here.
Commissioner Amini May. Oh, she was here. Commissioner Anthony Segrich.
Present.
All right, I'm sure she'll pop back on.
Mimi, yeah, I hope so. Okay, this is about the agenda for May 20th. Is that why you're talking about an agenda item, Mr. McCoy?
I have a schedule conflict. I need to leave probably by about 9:25. So I was just drawing that to your attention.
No, that's fine. I appreciate it. It's about an agenda item that you want to talk.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's start. I have a couple concerns about the agenda but we'll talk about that. Okay, so Chris,
Okay. I have some information requests relating to the casino ballroom, to the discretionary funds, and to the right-of-way abandonment, and a comment on the not Freedom of Information Act, but the Public Records request. Okay, and I'll try to be as quick as possible. Casino ballroom. I thought I did pretty well last night. I would just, on the casino ballroom, I'd just like to reiterate that ever since that building was being designed, I have always felt, and that was sort of what the original design was about, that the casino ballroom should be a central gathering place to pull as many different parts of the community together as possible. That it was, you try to have events that will attract different parts of the community and bring them together, make a real effort for that. And I feel like we've always kind of fallen short on it. We've used it for weddings and, for making money purposes, but not that well for bringing people together. As we decide how to go forward, I would like to ask staff to provide us some data for the discussion on Tuesday. It can be approximate. It doesn't need to be exact. So here are my requests. About how many weddings per year were we doing? About how many other types of events? How much income were we getting from the weddings and from the other events? And how much staff cost? And finally, we only had one vendor apply. Can we get some clarification why that vendor withdrew his application? So those are my information requests that I hope we can have that information available to the public and to us before Tuesday. On the discretionary funds, I'm curious where these proposed changes originated from. And I would reiterate that these are discretionary funds, that we have a certain amount of confidence in our commissioners that they will use them with some discretion. On the right-of-way abandonment, I would like, again, it's an information request. I would like to be provided to the commission and the public all calls for service and how they were resolved during the last 2 years for that right-of-way. And all communications with the city from the two property owners at 1230 and 1302. And then finally with that one, I think we have an issue that we had some exposure to last night, that our resolutions have some standard language. In the first therefore, it says that the foregoing recitals, the whereases, are incorporated as correct and true statements. So we have an obligation that's not just boilerplate, but we are asserting that in fact those previous whereases are true. And there's also, we were informed by the attorney last night that it's pretty standard. Almost all of the resolutions or ordinance have a last whereas that says something about we're doing this to improve the health, safety, and welfare of the city. If you look closely at the proposed resolution for that abandonment, the language is very interesting. It says on that one that normally would say that the commission is finding that this is for the health, safety, and welfare of the community. This one says that the current owners seek to have the right-of-way abandoned in order to improve the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. So it doesn't say anything about what the commission's intent is. It doesn't say anything about improving the city. It weasels its way out to say that these owners seek to improve. And I have a problem with that language. The owners are not seeking to improve the health, safety of the neighborhood. They're seeking to improve their particular conditions. I think we should be much more careful in that language on that one. And on the public records requests, I understand the need for, that we have maybe a lot of these requests, that they take a lot of staff time, that it is standard practice to charge above some amount. And it sounds like people are, a little bit getting around the system by breaking their request into multiple ones in the hope that they fall under the time frame. I don't know. We can discuss further on that one. I'm hesitant to make it harder for the public to obtain information. I think, we have a very strong public records law in Florida, and that is something that we should uphold. Obviously, there is a balance question of, how much time does it take for the city? And with that, yield my time. I do hope that these requests for information will be taken seriously. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Listen, I have a concern. Here's my concern about the meeting of the 20th. It's my understanding that, there are some fairly serious policy things going on. It's a fairly heavy policy meeting, and we're gonna have, Ms. Malega is not gonna be there. And we had a problem at the last meeting with that. I'm sorry, but I just have a concern that we're gonna be, we had 2 tie votes last time, not much got done. And so I don't know what to do, but I just think that we have an issue with attendance at that meeting because.
I have an issue that Ms. Malega has missed a number of meetings recently, and I'm a little alarmed that the vice mayor is going to miss another one.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, let me just interject. It is no one's concern. I serve this city above and beyond more than I will sit here and talk about, because I'm more humble than some people who sit on the board, and I'm not going to toot my own horn. But the fact that my attendance for the last 3 meetings is in question, it is my 50th birthday, and I understand how this city runs after 4 years. Come July, we have more budget sessions and special workshops, and this job is very demanding. So if I choose to have a live, work, life quality, that is no one's concern. My health comes first.
Well, it is a concern if we can't get anything done at a meeting.
Well, that is not my fault that you guys cannot come to a consensus. That's not my fault. And don't put the entire city on my back. My health comes first, because if I drop dead, somebody else's nameplate's going to be on my door before my body's even in the ground. So with that, I'm sorry.
Well, that's a very dramatic statement.
No, it's not dramatic. I have been through a lot in the last 6 months, more than any of you are even aware of. So I do not have to explain to anyone why I'm not going to be there. Tuesday is my 50th birthday. My 50th. Yeah. So I will not be in attendance. I'm going to be with my family, and that's all I'm going to say.
Well, that's 4 meetings.
Do not put on me because you guys can't make decisions without me.
It's not a question of we cannot make decisions. We have a 5-member board, which when the reason for an odd number is to avoid that sort of thing. So yesterday,
Commissioner Segrich had questions that he couldn't even get answered. So it has nothing to do with me being there. It has to do with the fact that you guys cannot come to a consensus. There's no meeting of the minds. That's not on me.
Well, you've heard from Ms. Malega. If they're, I mean, these are some fairly serious, I mean, the casino ballrooms, these are important.
Every meeting has serious things on it. Every meeting in this city is demanding. This city is demanding. We have a lot of moving parts.
We do, we all do.
And when you sign up for that, you make a commitment to be at the meetings.
Commissioner McBoy, you better stay in your lane. You missed 3 meetings back to back when you were in California.
All right, well,
Excuse me.
we're just gonna have to figure something out in, in terms of this sort of thing. And that's, so, all right, that's just my concern about policy decisions, so. Okay, so Mr. Segrich, your hand is up.
So I wanted to make a
Oh, Jamie,
comment.
wait, whenever I see Mr. Brown's hand up in that odd room that he's in. But, I've never seen that before. I always call on Mr. Staff first, because hopefully they're, go ahead. You're muted, Jamie, you're muted.
Good morning,
There we
everyone.
go.
Sorry that my RO water system went down. I had to meet the guy out here this morning, but I will be in the office right after this. I just wanted to, I'm not sure if you guys all saw yesterday, but an update went out from the clerk. There was a request from the property owners on that 13th Avenue right away. They want to push that item to one of the meetings in June.
Oh,
So
all right, well, that takes care of part
that
of it.
has been removed from
Okay,
the agenda for next Tuesday.
okay, thank you.
Melissa, that did go, I didn't check, that did go out this morning, correct? It has not gone out yet? I see a head shake or?
I didn't
It
see it.
didn't go out just in case there's anything else that's going to be pulled from the agenda. I
Oh,
just
okay.
want to do one update.
But right after this meeting, that'll be updated.
Yes, it'll go out right after this meeting.
Okay.
Another revision.
That's all I had, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to make sure people were aware that that will be.
Okay,
coming.
thank you, I appreciate that, we were not.
That was just yesterday evening when we got that phone call, that was gonna be pulled, so.
Well, that's one less thing to worry about. Okay, Mr. Segrich?
Thank you. I would like to kind of second Mr. McVoy's request for the data. I thought those were all good points to have as backup. On unfinished business A, options regarding the casino ballroom. I believe this came on the agenda at my request, and I don't think what's here accurately reflects what I was requesting. What I was requesting was that we consider actually holding out the casino ballroom space for lease, not doing another partnership for a event management company. So and without any kind of backup on this, and I just don't see this as in line with what I was asking, I would like to see if we can table it and have it come back more accurately to what I was seeking to have done.
Well, are you saying you'd like to, maybe I'm a little confused. You are looking for just an option to lease, just for us to run it like it was run before the city, when the city was doing it? Is that
So
what you're saying?
it's a blank slate, right? So I think we need to explore options of any kind of company that wants to come in there, be it a restaurant, be it an event company, be it something else, for the ease of management and revenue for the city. I think we need to open up our options. So I'm okay with having options,
Well, that's what it says,
1 and
option.
2.
Yeah.
But we're missing option 3, which is just holding it out for normal commercial lease, which I think is the most cost effective and will yield the highest and best use of that property.
Well, I think we were gonna maybe put an RFP out. Because one of the things that, I mean, I know for a few years while I was open, the staff was doing it. And that's, I believe, and correct me, staff, if I'm wrong, that was one of the reasons that our staff was turning over because they were working 7 days a week, setting up chairs for weddings, as well as the other things that they were doing. So, I mean, so that could be, there's 2 different options here, but I think we could talk about options. I would like to see some sort of RFP put out with a provision, with a proviso that no matter who does it, that the city still has the option of using it from time to time on some sort of schedule or whatever, because we do use it for staff stuff. We use it for lunches, we use it for meetings sometimes. So to me, that's an important thing, is like to put it in there that we don't lose it completely, that we still have some access to it.
Yeah. I
But-
just feel like there's missing a lot of backup on this, including the financials and understanding of it, and it's missing an entire option. I'd rather see it tabled and brought back with proper backup and reflecting the options.
I support that move.
Well, staff, what kind of information could you get us by Tuesday?
Mayor Tiana is on.
She just came on, and good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Tiana McKay, Director of Leisure Services. Thank you very much. We would be able to provide for Tuesday financials from previous years. So we did run some financials from year 2000 to 24, which would have the revenue. We can share that with you. And forgive me, I just started a little over a year ago, so I'm not familiar with how many were weddings and how many were other events. However, our staff will do our best to dig and see if we can come up with that. And also, we did do a cost estimate of what it could look like should the city take it over, meaning extra staff. So we would need to hire extra part-time staff, so we could provide you with some estimate of hours and costs for staffing hours as well. And the additional choice, Commissioner Segrich, you're implying that we potentially put it out as like a rental space, as we rent out Kilwin space, Benny's space, and then they would be free to operate that space how they would like.
No,
am
I don't know if
correctly
this is
understand that?
asking. Is that what you're asking?
That's exactly what I'm asking. I don't think we should have staff involved in the running of this at all.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
We've seen that it's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources.
Well, all right, that's what I was asking about. That's why I was trying to clarify.
What I'm asking is that we hold it out for normal commercial lease, not an RFP process. And I just feel right now the backup to support that kind of a motion is not here. And I think the public needs to see that backup. And since this is my item, that's why I'm asking for consensus to push this to another meeting.
Well, we've been
I
talking
agree.
about doing this. Miss Tiana, you could have that, are you sure you could have that information or not so sure?
The leasing information, Commissioner Cedric, are you looking for me to find out what market value would be, things like that, to rent a space like that? Or are you just looking for me to add that item to be discussed in the staff report?
I would like it to be discussed, but I think, if we're going to discuss the potential value of that, we need to understand the cost benefit of that versus actually doing the RFP and having it as an event space and having staff still involved in a kind of joint partnership with some event management company like we did the last RFP. So
the RFP could be somebody comes in and leases it. That could be a response to an RFP.
Yeah, but responding to an RFP is very different than a commercial lease. It has a lot of hurdles.
I think
All right, Mr.
I can't-
McFoy, I'm talking. Mr. McFoy.
I can't figure out
yes.
how to
Mr.
raise my
McFoy,
hand.
Mr. McFoy, I was in the middle of a sentence. Well, the RFP, I mean, say, okay, Bob, you can rent it and you just give us the money, could be part of one of the suggestions from an RFP. So I see Ms. Maleka's hand is up. Sarah?
Thank you. I would like to support Commissioner Segrich in this. I had a conversation with Tiana yesterday, and it is evident that we will need to hire more staff. The last time staff was overworked, which is why we stopped this whole process. Again, I feel we make decisions in the city as policymakers, and then we turn around and we backdoor and say, well, maybe we don't want to make that decision. And it's very confusing to staff. So I support Commissioner Segrich in gathering more information. We also have spent money on having a organization going out and giving us their information on what they think is the best thing to do with this property. So I kind of feel like, again, we're putting the cart before the horse. Why aren't we waiting for Zakovich to bring us information on the finances of the property and what is the best use of it?
Well, okay. So it looks like we have some consensus. Mimi's did not come back. Oh, there she is. Mimi, want to chime in? Are you okay with postponing and getting more
Sure.
information?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree that we need more information. When I looked at this, I turned the page and I was like, where's the rest of it? So, yeah, I would like some more information. I also would like, as Vice Mayor Maliga just said, we hired Ziskovich and haven't heard a word from them since.
When are they due back with their report, Mr. Brown?
We have the task order with them, coming forward, and Troy, correct me if I'm wrong, is that on that, the first meeting in June? Oh, you're muted, Troy. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look and see. I'm not sure. But that's one
So
of the
have-
things we discussed.
When you
in
say
our
task
strategy.
order, what does that mean, Jamie?
So anytime that we put out a solicitation, we bring someone on board, what we do is we issue task orders under that particular solicitation. So we had to kind of go back and forth with them on a lot of different things to actually, if you remember what they gave to us was a massive list of services they'd be able to provide, depending on what exactly we needed. So we had to kind of go through there and massage that and see exactly what we needed for that task order number one. That's what it.
So
that's
they,
coming forward.
okay, so they haven't actually started to do any research yet.
No, that's about to start right now.
What was the time frame for them to come back with a report?
Well, keep in mind, this was like kind of an overarching thing. So we had to go through and make sure that we were. I can tell you one of the large parts of the first task order they're doing is they're basically assembling all of the 20 years of information and studies and data and all the designs, everything that's basically been done out there, compiling that all into one comprehensive document. So no one has to look for all this information. It's going to all be there to kind of be with an analysis that goes along with that. So that's a portion of what they're doing right off the bat.
Are we
had to
talking
go
about
through and select all this stuff. So
Are we talking about 6 months? A year? I mean,
as far as William's on here too. William, did they have a time frame in there? I don't recall seeing a time.
it was a while ago that we hired them.
William Waters, Community Sustainability Director. We have a proposal received by purchasing as a task order to do enumerated tasks beginning as soon as the City Commission approves the task order amount. And that amount I'll leave up to Jamie and Troy to share, but it's a pretty large number.
Number of tasks or number of dollars?
Well, it's 6.5 pages of tasks to do based on what we requested under the RFQ. And it encompasses what Jamie described, as well as getting us to the point where we have some kind of design that the community can appreciate and accept and support moving forward if we just choose to do some kind of public-private partnership. But that all those tasks do come at a cost. And that cost is well over $50,000 and will have to be brought back to you to approve the task order.
And yeah, I thought we were farther along than that. All right, well, let's give staff time. How much time do do you want 1 meeting, 2 meetings to get the information together? Staff?
I think we can get it for the next meeting. Hi, Tiana.
And hi.
Yes, I think
And then-
we would be able to pull that we have gathered most of that information. It's the third point from Commissioner Sedgwick. We'll work on that and we'll put it onto the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess Melissa will keep an eye on the next meeting, that it doesn't become like the biggest meeting we've ever had, but we'll see.
Yes,
Okay.
I am,
Good.
I will definitely, yes, so we will end hopefully before 11. But it seemed like some of you were saying it might be worth waiting because Ziskovich is going to be doing some of this.
I think that's too
So-
long. I mean.
Yes, 100%. That is what we hired them for.
I
Right.
agree.
Yeah, we hired them, but that doesn't preclude us from making decisions on property before that. We could be waiting
Right.
3 years for them.
Yeah.
I think we should still,
could.
I think we should add option 3, putting the space out for lease with a rider in the lease. It's, I mean, I don't know how that would do if we had an entire remake of the I think it wouldn't matter. We could still do a lease and they could still continue
Yeah,
to
I mean, the
operate.
ballroom's there. It's not like we're inventing a new place. I mean,
Well, I mean, but that's the other question. Are they allowed to do whatever they want with the space? Could it be a
Not
roller
just that,
rink?
but what company is going to come forward and sign a lease and move their business there and start investing if they think that we're just going to go out and we have we're waiting on a report and a study to be done on how to make the most profit and the best use of the building. I wouldn't invest money on something that may just be pulled from under my rug in a year and a half or 2 years.
But it doesn't
I
necessarily, if we're,
agree.
all right, hey, if we, even with Siskovich's report, is more, my understanding is it has to do with like the entire beachfront. I think we could carve out the casino as it is a building that it's already existing and have that. I mean, we have Benny's, we have this, we have that, and Melamia's. So, I mean, the casino ball could be carved out from that piece of it, because I think we're looking more for other, a bigger picture for the beach. So that's just my thought. I don't want to see it sit there and do nothing for the next, I feel like I questioned the stopping of the, of using it. I understand why we did that, but I cannot see. It's years go by on stuff. Look at that pool is still sitting there, and 4 years ago we were trying to figure stuff out. So I really, things take too long to do a lot of times. So my feeling is let's carve out, if somebody comes forward with a good proposal, let's carve it out and see what they have to say. And I have no problem with that. Mr. Segrich?
Yeah, I was just going to add that the Ziskovich proposal is about constructing new structures. So I agree with you. This is an existing asset. We need to monetize it. And it can be done in conjunction. I don't see the two in conflict, but thankful that we're going to move it and get more information.
Okay, so I agree on that. And all right, so what else? What have we got left on the agenda? Let's see. 13th is gone. Yeah.
Before we move off that, I just want to make sure that Tiana, that you're clear as well exactly what is being asked, because if you guys recall, the direction that staff received was to move forward and lease out the space. We spent a good amount of time with the person who put it in. It didn't end up working out because there was one reason or another. We were going to just put that back out again because that was the initial direction. So this was a change in that particular initial direction, which is why we brought this back, and that was based on Mr. Segrich. Now we will bring whatever information you guys want to see, but we were just moving forward with what you guys had initially asked us to do. So now we're kind of changing course, and the mayor's left.
Just to clarify, the previous direction was an RFP and almost a public-private partnership with an event company where there were a tremendous amount of terms that the event company had to work with the city on. And that's not what I'm suggesting, because that's too onerous. That's why they backed out. It was too onerous. I've spoken to them. So I'm suggesting we just lease it out like a normal space, which would involve next to no staff on an ongoing basis. So
well, that's what we're going to talk about. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is I understand that now that's what we're asking to do, but prior, when that didn't work out with that particular company, we were going to put that back out again because we have been contacted by other companies that are interested that did not put in on that first time. So now that we're kind of changing that, we will bring back what you guys need. But we had just been moving forward with what the initial direction was. So.
Yeah. I had to quiet my screaming dog. Sorry. So we're going to postpone it. We're going to add an option. I mean, this is so we have direction. Okay. Any other things from this agenda that was now cut way down?
I don't know if you see, but both Anthony and Christopher have their hands up.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go back to Christopher.
Thank you. I just want to be very clear at what I heard just a minute ago, that the ballroom is an asset and we need to monetize it. That is one view of what government does. It is not at all my view. As I stated before, that ballroom was intended as a gathering place, a meeting place, a place to have activities that pulls the community together. The intention when that building was built was not to monetize it. it was to do a public good. It was a amenity for the city. So I just want to be very clear. I am not looking to monetize the ballroom. I am looking to optimize and measure that we do in fact bring people together at it. And that was pretty clearly part of the thinking of the, and I can never remember their name, Viskovich, the folks down that we hired to look at this. And it was to look quite comprehensively at what we do there financially, but also what is the public purpose of this? It's a park. Remember, let's not forget that. That's what it was started as. All right, I got to leave.
Okay, have fun. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, but we're so good at giving things away, and we're the people that can least afford giving things away. Mr. Segrich?
I had some comments on the third fiscal year budget amendment, specifically items 3 and 5. We're looking at leisure services getting a new lease. How many staff are we moving?
My apologies. Hi, Tina McKay, Director of Leisure Services. We are moving our parking operations. So we will need 3 desks, and then we will also be having our administrative assistant for Leisure Services who operates out of the same parking building, moving over there as well. And then we have a staff room area where our parking staff come in and out to take their break room and radios and counting room.
So we've got a 4-person or 5-person office for $5,000 a month is what we're asking.
We are currently exploring one of the options, and one of the options is $5,500 per month. Yes.
Right. So that's over $1,000 a head for an office. I think at market rate, that's excessive. I'd like to, and I've requested to see what the lease options that we're exploring, because at that rate, there's got to be something else. That's I've had a 20-person company in an office that was $2,500 a month. Very comfortable desks, conference rooms, break rooms, everything. So I would like to know what's the dollar per square foot you're looking at in this particular case.
I believe the dollar per square foot was $48. I'd have to check for sure, but I believe that was what we were looking at.
No, that was for the year, Tiana. So it's 1,350 square feet is the office.
Oh, sorry.
The office.
So the dollar per square foot is $48 a square foot, triple net?
No, the size of the office is 1,350 square feet, and it's $5,500 a month is what the current lease was. What's that come out to $4 and something a square? And that's triple net, that's CAM, that's any other fees, that would be all in 55.
So it's a gross lease or a triple net lease?
It's a
Excuse
gross lease, Commissioner Segrich.
So it's a $44 a square foot gross lease. So, looking at that, I can't see justifying a $44 a square foot gross lease for office space, especially in today's market where office space is not in high demand. So that my commentary on that, and as backup before approving a budget item, I think we need to see the lease terms and this kind of information of what we're looking at. Then the other item.
Well, let's stick on one. I've got some hands up. Mr. Sarah's hand is up and William's hand is up. William, is your hand still up?
I took it down and let you guys finish. I'll probably raise it again in a few minutes.
Okay, Ms. Malega?
I just have a couple things that I need consensus on before I can ask to have it added to the agenda, including addressing the advisory boards, the CRA appointments. That needs to be put on our calendar. It is not on the updated calendar.
Wait, Sarah. Let's just finish. Okay, that's a whole new list of things. Let's finish what Mr. Segrich, quick. Let's try to do it quickly. Get moving so we have Ms. Malega's items to talk about as well. You can always meet with staff to find out more information as well. So
But I
right
want to
now
know it. I want to know it too. I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes that's what happens. One person asks and they get the answers, but nobody else does.
Well, it should all be
Madam
shared
Mayor,
with all
Madam
of
Mayor.
us. I'm sorry, yeah.
Before you guys move forward, and by the way, when we push out information, it goes to everyone, not just one commissioner gets information. When we send stuff out, it goes to all of them. Even if one person requests it, you all
Right.
receive. So there's never a case where only one person gets something. This lease is in terms of what we spoke about last night on the agenda, and 501 Lake Ave being demo.
Breaking up.
Parking is currently in 501, and as we discussed last night, parking, excuse me,
Totally breaking up.
excuse me. Okay,
We can't hear you.
okay, so parking, the parking permit, can you hear me now?
No.
Yes, but you were breaking up.
Okay, so the parking division currently operates out of 501 Lake. That is the building that last night we discussed, the demo permit with the CRA, and parking has to get out of there. We need somewhere for them to go. This was right downtown. This has parking out front. It was $5,500 a month, which, looking around at everything else, is not unreasonable. And that's $5,500 all in. That's whatever fees, and we told them whatever fees they want to charge. They wanted to do triple net, CAM, and everything on top of that. We're a government. We have to know exactly what we're paying on a monthly basis. So we said, we're 55. You can back out whatever fees you want from that, but we're not exceeding that amount of money. We have to have somewhere to put our parking division. So if we're not going to entertain this particular space, we need to find somewhere to put them where it's easy access for the public to come in and pay citations or do whatever they need to do. And that seemed like an easy location to do that. If that's not something that you guys are interested in, we need to know very quickly, because as you noted last night, that June 30th date, we have to start getting our staff out of that location.
Okay. Mr. Segrich, real quick.
On item 3,
Oh, wait. No, that's a new item. Miss Maleg's had her hand up for a while. So let's go to
No,
Miss
I
Maleg.
just want to bring up my items that I need consensus on. I've already
Right.
talked to staff about all my questions on the agenda. Although I'm not going to be there, I did have an in-depth conversation with Director Waters, Mr. Perry, and Jamie Brown in regards to all the items.
So go ahead.
So,
So,
No, Sarah, please.
so no, it's just I wanted to bring up the advisory board and putting either coming to a consensus that we're going to do open interviews, or going back to the old way where commissioners get one appointee. Either way, we need to give staff a direction and move quickly, because a lot of these boards have vacancies and have expirations. I personally rely on the boards for advice when it comes to budget and some of the items that we approve. So I brought this up to Mr. Perry and Mr. Brown on Tuesday at my one-on-one, and what staff is looking for is consensus from us on which way we want to do it. Open interviews again, or go back to the old way.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Mimi, what do you think about that? What have you thought about that?
I have. I think that however we do it, we need to do it ASAP.
Right.
So that's a non-starter. So I don't know. I was there for the open interviews. So I've watched that process. I don't know how it was when each person brought somebody on board. So I don't know. I don't have that experience. So I'd rather listen to somebody who has had that experience.
I think the only one that would be Mr. McBoy. Because I've been open interviewed since. Chris?
Experience for a
Are you
number
still
of
here?
years.
Oh, you're still here. Oh. Go ahead.
I'm driving, but I can listen somewhat safely.
Yeah, what was your experience with?
My experience was that the system that we quote unquote went back to, which is that we all interview together all of the folks that we did. I don't remember now when we did it, but we did it on a Saturday,
Right.
I believe.
Right.
I believe that has many more virtues than commissioners individually appointing. It crowdsources our information. We all get to hear the different people. We get to hear different applicants for the same position. so we can sort of think, oh yeah, that person really is, that would be a good contribution, or, you know, this other contribution would be strong, or whatever. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it sometimes slows when we appoint people, but I think it's a much better for the community process. Also, the community gets to meet us and we get to know more of the community. I think those are both community building aspects of doing it the way we went back.
Right, thank you. But did you have, when you were in the last time, did you do it just, you know, everybody gets to pick somebody?
Unfortunately, I couldn't hear that very well. Could you repeat it?
Sure. When you were in office the last time, we're still doing the everybody gets their own appointment method, correct?
Yes, I experienced way back when we did it the way that we did it just recently.
Right.
So I've experienced both ways, and I think it has the process is very different with very different benefits, and the end result is different.
Okay, no, I tend to agree. Mr. Segwitch, your feelings on that?
I would defer to those that have experience. I think probably the group of us making the appointments would work out with the best possible choice being made. It will make it more of a lengthy process.
Okay,
but I do second Sarah's opinion of doing it quickly.
Okay, let's just do like, Ms. May, what do you like what we did the last time?
I'm okay
I think
with
it
it.
works. Yeah.
I'm okay with that. As long as it's done soon. I don't really care how we do it.
Right. Ms. Maliga? The open interviews that we did?
I'm open to either. The only other thing I want to make sure that we talk about is I don't feel comfortable with serving at the pleasure of, because now that puts pressure on us if we want to take that person off of the board or the bad guys. I think that we also need to have a conversation about putting expiration dates on the advisory board appointees. But
Agreed.
yes, I'm okay with both.
And attendance requirements.
Well,
Yeah, but I'm okay with either way. I'm willing to go with, whatever the group wants to do.
I like the fact that we all,
done.
I like the fact that we all talk about it. I like a group effort. I think that's better serves the city, somehow better serves our residents. So you want a consensus to continue to do it like that. When can we get the call out to Ms. Coyne, I'm asking you, when can we get the call out? How fast can we start this process?
So I've been working on this for a while. I actually have a suggestion. The current ordinance calls for at least 2 interview periods during the year. This was implemented in 2022. We have never had 2. We had 1 in 23 and we had 1 in 22 and 1 in 23, which were all day things. We had none in 24. My suggestion would be when a board has availability coming up, and it sounds like you're going to reinstitute the term limits, say PZB needs members. We have interviews for PZB and then appoint for the PZB. So whether we have a special meeting to interview people like before a regular meeting, which we've done on a couple of occasions, and not deal with all the advisory boards at one time, which is, we haven't been following the ordinance. To me, I think that'd be a happy medium, because you get to interview the people and appoint for the boards that were necessary. And when you put back the term limits, first of all, members serve even without term limits. I know there are some boards that still have some. Members serve until somebody else is appointed. So it's not like their term limit is up on July 31st and they're gone. So that would be my suggestion, to deal with one board at a time instead of all the boards at once, which was a very ungainly process. So you'd be still interviewing everybody, but for one board at a time.
On different days.
Term limits, so yes, because not everybody has availability right now, but I know a couple of boards do. So just deal with, just having been here for both processes. And by the way, the full commission had to approve even when each commissioner got one appointee, it's not like they appointed somebody and said you're appointed. It still had to be approved by the commission. So it's always been approved by the full commission. It was just lacking the interview part.
Did anyone ever get rejected?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Malega, your hand's up still? You want to talk about that?
No, that's all. I need a consensus on that. And the Red Cross would like to come do a 10-minute presentation on the programs that they offer and how they assist people during fires and major life trauma issues. And I need a consensus for them to come do a 10-minute presentation.
Sure, I don't know what, when the next, Melissa, when is the Art League is coming in when? In June?
It's on the 3rd.
Of June, okay.
Yes, of 3rd of June.
Because we also have a meeting about the use of the annex. And I was thinking about that. I'd like to have the art, when is the annex use workshop?
That's the May 29th meeting, the special meeting.
I'd rather have the art, I think in that sense, I'd like to have the Art League talk before we talk about that, because then people will have more of an idea about what they need or what they're looking for.
Do you want me to see if they're available for Tuesday? Because there's not going to be any backup. I could call Diane, and since we've taken a couple of things off the agenda, I can see if she's available to come this Tuesday, if you'd
Does
like.
anybody,
Who's Diane?
the head
From
of
the
the
Art
Art League?
Oh,
Diane
okay.
Hutchinson, I think her
Yeah.
name is.
Anybody have a problem with that? See if Diane and the group can come in on Tuesday instead?
For the Art League to come in on Tuesday, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with the Red Cross coming. I also don't forget that the library board needed to come and talk to us too.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
I have that on my list.
Okay,
I
so,
don't have an issue.
so Melissa, you'll call Diane and see what, okay. And if she
Go
can,
with- Sorry, Mayor, going back to the boards.
Yeah.
We do need to decide, are we going to wipe them clean and start them fresh, or are we just going to appoint to vacancies?
well, I mean, if someone has, this is for you, Elizabeth, if someone's term expires in 2006 or 2007, can we take them off the board and start over again?
Considering that was 20 years ago, I'm sure we could.
What?
Considering that was 20 years ago,
I don't know what was 20 years ago. There is a,
2006.
all right, 2026, I'm sorry. If their term expires in 2026 or 2027, because there's a property interest in being on a board. Once you're on a board, Elizabeth, can you address that?
Yes, ma'am. So if a board member is appointed for a specific term and the term has not expired, they cannot be replaced unless they're being removed for cause.
Thank you.
But that's
So-
just CRA.
No, the different boards have expiration dates. The CRA, I think, is the one that we started not having expiration
No,
dates.
other way around.
All right, but there are quite a few that do have expiration dates, if you look at the lists. People that are on till 2026 or whatever.
No, that's not true. They all are, it's only the CRA that has expiration dates. The other ones are, they serve at the pleasure of the commission.
Madam
But I've
Mayor,
been-
that was for newly appointed board
Right,
members as of 2022. So if anybody was serving previously, it didn't apply to them. So there are still a couple of boards where there are members that do have term, very few other than the CRA, but there are still a few here and there.
okay. So, I see Mr. Waters' hand is up.
Thank you, Mayor. I heard the comment that, starting the boards fresh, that Historic Resource Preservation Board and Planning and Zoning Board, since they serve as our local planning agency and make decisions that have a judicial nature, I would highly advise not to completely wipe those boards clean, because continuity on those boards, because what they do is rather complicated at times, is very, very helpful.
Agreed, thank you.
Yeah, so were you suggesting, Mimi, of kicking everybody off the boards and starting?
No,
fresh,
I
or-
wasn't suggesting it.
Okay.
I was just
Okay.
saying we need to decide how we want to do that. But maybe if Melissa could bring us a list of the boards, a list of the open positions, and
Yeah.
we can go from there.
But I also need to revise the ordinance on the board process. So does anybody like what I suggested, or, because honestly, since that was changed in 2022, in my opinion, it's not working.
No, I agree that you change the process to when there's a vacancy, we call a meeting to appoint the person.
Yeah.
But I agree with Commissioner Maliga that we need to have, term limits on them, rotating term limits on the other boards as well. It doesn't mean that you can't reapply, but I think also if somebody's going to apply for a board, knowing that it's a 2-year term, they can kind of make that commitment to themselves, as opposed to an endless term on the tree board.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think
that-
people like not having term limits with,
Right.
honestly.
And I
Yeah,
think
they can reapply.
Because I was actually almost done with the ordinance for the board process, but now I have to revise it a little. But if there's consensus to do in-person interviews like we've been doing, but instead of doing a whole Saturday, we do it board by board as the vacancies come up. And when you reinstitute term limits, we'll know when that is. So it can be, I can plan, because I like to plan things in advance, as you probably know. So I will know, okay, the term limits are up. Let's start the interviews like a month in advance, something like that.
Now, the only thing I have no problem either way how we do it. We have quite a few that are coming up. I think it's going to be a little, this first round, it'll be a little time consuming because we're going to do them each. Is that what we're saying?
Well,
And
maybe for this first time going back to
Right.
that, I have to look and see, but we'll maybe have 3 board interviews in one special meeting.
Okay. All right. See what you'll let us know how you think that's going to play out.
100%.
Okay. All right. I see that we are really at the end of our time. With 5 more minutes. Sarah, did you have more that you wanted to do?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. I see Mr. Waters' hand is no longer up. Sarah's hand is still up. Anthony?
Not going to discuss much about it, but item 3 on that, the movement of those 2 historic structures, I think we need to seriously consider the amount of money we're looking at spending to move those. I'm not really in agreement with spending that level of funds to move those structures. I did want to ask consensus to get something on the agenda. Section 15-23 of our code dealing with trespass. Right now, with that section, PBSO needs to use a special city form, and we've got a special appeals process that goes through our own special magistrate that seems to be in conflict with how PBSO works with other municipalities and has hampered their ability. And I know we're trying to work it out, but I'd like to bring it forward and discuss modifying that code so that we utilize the standard procedures of PBSO using their FIR system and the normal court system to handle trespasses. Because right now, with our special exception,
go.
we're going to
I
have.
agree with Anthony. I gotta go.
Okay. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
And
You too.
We're going to have records sync issues with the clerk of courts, and it probably will cause some issues. So,
has it in the past, do we know?
say that again.
Well, I don't know. You wouldn't, I don't know from staff, has it created a problem in the past? You're saying that it has, we don't know if it has created conflict. We can certainly look at it.
At least in the meeting that I had with the PBSO captain and major, they indicated that it was a problem. And currently we're not able to issue trespass based on our ordinance because it still hasn't been worked out since the passage of that ordinance.
Okay, I see Elizabeth's hand is up.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm happy to bring back some more information on this and for further discussion, but just so you all know that the reason that was put in is because that is what the courts have required for trespass from public property, is that there be a due process step for appeal of a trespass warning, which is not in the statutory process for trespass. And so we have been working with PBSO to figure out how that works most efficiently. And I think we're almost there, but that's why it is input. And it came about when the legislature started requiring removal of people from public property. And so we were trying to make that compliant with what the law requires, both from the case law and from the statutory perspective. And many other communities are instituting this or have already instituted this warning appeal process. So I think we're being consistent with what other governments are doing, but we'll bring more back if you all want to hear more.
And you're working with PBSO on that?
Absolutely.
So, well, you'll come back. So that's great. Thank you. Okay, I see it is now pretty much time to go. William, I see your hand is up.
I have one last question concerning the alley abandonment that kind of got stuck at the last meeting. AutoZone is in for permitting to redesign it to avoid the alley being abandoned would cost tens of thousands of dollars and having to have them restart and go through a site plan amendment process. Is it possible to have at least have that item come up for reconsideration so we could have the discussion about why it was proposed to be abandoned? Thank you.
Elizabeth, where are we at with that? I asked at the meeting, where do we go from here? Can they bring it back or how? Someone that voted. Go ahead.
Yes, if Commissioner McVoy or Commissioner Segrich wants to do a motion for reconsideration at Tuesday's meeting to bring that back with additional information, more complete agenda packet, we can do that.
Okay. So if anyone's inclined to do that, please talk to Elizabeth William. Mr. Segrich, and I see Mr. Troy. Mr. Troy, Ms. Perry.
Yes, Mayor. Just want to let you know, Ms. Smith just passed me a note. Just wanted me to make you guys aware, make the commission aware that I guess she has invitations for the Lake Worth Beach graduation, and she said she'll be in touch with you guys. So
No, that's all taken care of. We know
Okay.
it's only. They've changed the rules this year that only because they had so many people on the dais.
Okay.
It's only the mayor and vice mayor that goes, and I think Mr. Segrich and Ms.
Okay.
They all know. But thank you, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
just pass it along. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Segrich, your hand was up. We're gonna
I was
stop.
just going to say, I already spoke to staff about the abandonment issue and was intending on making a motion.
To reconsider.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So, William, there you go.
Thank
You
you.
got- But that's not going to come up at this meeting. It can't come up at this next meeting. It's got to come up at a meeting.
The motion for reconsideration would be made and voted on Tuesday, and then the item would come back at a subsequent meeting.
Okay, all right.
Right.
Thank you very much. All right, well, it's 10 o'clock and we all have things to do. Thank you very much. See you all on Tuesday, if not before.